Welcome to the FGTN show. We are live, the fishing gear and tech news show. I'm your host, Alex Tim, your weekly hub for the latest in fishing gear, industry updates, and killer deals. Today, we've got the Magellan Pro Jacob Wheeler Angler Shorts, new product, and the Stonze fishing weights, which I think are incredibly interesting. Doesn't look like they're even sold in the US, but it is a really interesting concept we're going to talk through. Minnesota's forward-facing sonar study, the DNR did one. We've got some really surprising results. And then Vexilar's big ice fishing announcement. You may or may not have seen that, and much, much more. If you're live, let me know down in the chat. Should walleye be Ohio's state fish? It currently is not. They currently don't have one, but let me know. Should walleye be Ohio state fish in your opinion? Replay squad, if you're not watching live, but you're watching on the replay, I want your take too. Yes or no, making walleye official for Ohio. And if you aren't from Ohio or don't care, do you know what your state fish is? Let me know. Let me know if you're live. Like, do you know what state fish you have? Do you even have one? I am in Minnesota and we do have a state fish, and I do know what it is. So let me know. Fierce Outdoors, what is up, my man? Nice to see you here. Charles, thanks for tuning in. Member of the channel. Really appreciate Charles for being here. I know we got lots of people tuning in. So let's go ahead and jump in. Today's episode is brought to you by AnglerBuilt. We will get a little bit more into that a little bit later. But first up, some new products. We're going to talk about 2 new products. Then we're going to talk about lots of other things as we talked about here. So these are some shorts. I'm not recommending the shorts, but I thought these were super interesting. So these are the Magellan Outdoors. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Men's Pro Jacob Wheeler Angler Hybrid Shorts. Check this out. This is the only reason why I have this on here. There is a button. It doesn't let me zoom in any further. Let me see if this will work. I think. Haha. The button on the shorts is a line cutter. Did you guys see this? How cool is that? There's a line cutter on the shorts. You can kind of see there's like a little groove right in the side of it. I can't tell if that's a blade or if it's ceramic in there, but that is pretty dope. They're on sale right now, $35.99 from Academy Sports and Outdoors. They look a little short, but that's them. Kind of interesting. Have you guys seen these? Our official fish is the bull trout. Interesting. I think it should be Michigan's. I like it. Okay. Next up, new product here. So Stonze fishing weights that I thought was actually really interesting here. At first, I saw a picture of these and I was like, we're talking about some rocks, y'all. Some rocks, but no. They look like rocks. This is what they look like. These are from a company called Palatrax. They're based out of the UK, is my understanding, and they look like rocks. Well, because they are rocks, and they have, of course, a spot to tie your line onto. Why does this matter? That is an interesting question, and one that we're going to talk about here in just a second. So you can get a stone set, 6 real fishing stone set to replace lead weights. $17 for 6 of them. This is in the UK. So if we wanted to buy them, because I tried to buy some, I didn't, but I don't know if I was actually going to buy them, but I tried to check out $17. This is USD. Shipping to the US for these 6 would be $54. So it came out to like a lot of money, $70+ to get these shipped over here. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do it, but they've got a ton of different sets here, exclusive set for rigged and ready. Okay, what are these things? Let's talk about it. There's a video that I'm going to show you that I think does an interesting job explaining this product. So I'm going to play it right now for you, and you can tell me if you think this is a good idea or not.
Come to show basically that some of the misconceptions about how far you can cast a stone are really quite unfounded, because a stone is just a weight. So this particular stone is 3 ounces. I'm using gamma line on the reel, which I think is 0.33, which is
I'm gonna
so
jump
if we
for it.
go over to the sticks and actually measure this, we'll see how far that just standard overhead cast was.
Here we go.
So yes, you can cast a stone. So let's have a quick measure of this and see where we got to.
So we've just wrapped that out, and typically, as we wanted to start doing some bigger casts, the wind's actually picked up and is coming straight into our face. But even with the wind in our face, Tim was still hitting about the 100.
So the synopsis at this
Find
point
out
is they can cast it really, really far, right? Like 100 plus feet, which is pretty great. So we're going to jump to this part. This is what I think is really interesting. This is a type of fishing that is illegal here in Minnesota. It's illegal, I think, in Wisconsin as well. It is called method fishing, I believe is the right way. It's like a method feeder. And the whole idea, this guy's going to walk through here in just a second in this next section. So watch this closely. We're going to talk about it. And then I think we're going to talk about how this could actually be used. And what would be interesting to see is if some other companies start coming out with products similar to this in just a second. So let's
Some of the
jump
other
in.
benefits of the stones.
Right, one of the advantages of the stones is how it can be used as a method feeder. Now, I've fished a method now for probably 20 years, and I find it very successful. I've caught carp to over 60 pounds. I've caught big barbel, big chub, big tench, big bream, all on the method. And the method is a fantastic form of getting attractiveness into your swim without necessarily feeding the fish, and therefore hoping that they'll eat that bit, the important bit, bait and hook. But you must load it properly. So mixing the ground bait properly, I always put some in
what
the
he's got here. So what this is, if you've never heard of a method feeder or method fishing before, drop down in the comments. Let me know if you have or haven't. He's got essentially ground up attractant in bait, also known as, like, you could consider it chum, right? Or fish remnants, right? It's like a food that he has. It's a certain consistency, and you can buy this like this. I'm finding out, or you can make your own. And that stone, which is a rock, it is one of these. Except the cool thing about these rocks is they're porous. We're probably not gonna get to that part of the video because I don't wanna drain this topic, because not everybody's super, like, this is the thing that they tuned in for. But what is interesting is the way that they do this, because I found out 2 things. 1, the benefit of using a stone for a weight, and 2, this new way of fishing that I've never heard of before. But I also don't fish carp. I'm also not in a state that it's legal in. So they wrap it around and they get it really, really tight. So you'll see he's gonna wrap it around tightly. I'm gonna show you here. So he's got it in basically a ball around the stone. And the idea here, which I can show you, they had a picture of it in here where they show it actually dissolving in the water, which I thought was pretty cool. They don't. Oh, right here. Check this out. This is essentially what it does in the water, right? So the water kind of eats away at it and kind of breaks apart. The whole idea there is it's a fish attractant. So fish are now going to come in that little piece that he said that has the right here. There's the hook. Here, I'll wind it back just a second. You can see him actually put it in there. He's pushing it in, and that's got the hook in it. So if they suck it up, they're gonna grab the hook. 100 yards, 300 feet. Look at this guy. See how far that went? So anyway, so what they said about this that I thought was pretty interesting. Oh, I didn't have it. Sorry. Here. So this, sorry, I didn't have it up here. Not sure if you saw this part, so I'll kind of go back through it.
False bit of
This is
plastic or
the
like a feeder
stuff falling
or
off,
a
right? So the benefit of the stone is that this is sitting on the floor in the lake or in the river or whatever area that you're in. And essentially that attractant, you can see it's dispersing into the water right here,
false bit of plastic
which is
or
going to
like a
attract
feeder
fish.
or
There's
a
actually
lead,
fish bait
it's a
in it, right? And
stone.
like fish remnants, things that fish are attracted to. They're gonna come over, and then they're gonna find that piece of actual bait with the hook in it, which I'll show you in a second because I know I didn't have it up on the screen. Apologize for that. And that's what they're gonna take. Here's the benefit of the stone. As all of this falls
A
away,
natural stone that the fish, especially if you're fishing in gravel pits, come across all the time. They're digging around in stones. They're not scared of stones. You've got no reason to be scared of that stone. So
exactly what he just said. So as the fish are seeing this disperse, what is being uncovered is an actual rock. It's a stone on the ground, which there's stones and rocks everywhere, right? And so it's no big deal. It's not like a hunk of lead. It's not some bright, shiny object. It doesn't look like a fishing lure. It looks like an actual rock. So let me show you here where he put it in. So he's got his bait here. He wrapped it around the stone. This is what I wasn't showing you before. He's got his
they find
line
this, they'll
here
suck it in and eat it. What you can do,
with the
get your
fish
hook bait,
on it.
just press it
And
into
the
the
hook
side
on it.
like that. And I now know when I cast that, it won't tangle, can't tangle. I'd actually cast that into a weed and it will present. So it is the perfect system for fishing. I can't fault it. I've caught
And
so
you'll
many
see how
fish on
far
it.
this guy casts it.
It's
I know
ridiculous.
I didn't show you that, so I'll
So
show
there,
now.
stone with a method ball wrapped around it. I know I can cast that 100 yards. I'll cast that as far as I cast the stone.
100 yards.
So there you have it, a method ball wrapped around the
300
stone.
feet. Look at this. Look how far that went, all the way out there. So anyways, back off of the video, back to this guy here. So these are the stones. They look exactly like stones. So here's my thought. Whether you're using a drop weight, whether you're bottom bouncing, no matter what type of fishing you're doing, if you're using a weight that you want to drag along the bottom, I'm of the thought that it could actually be a good idea. And heck, somebody here that has a tackle or whatever, homemade, there's a ton of tackle and lure companies out there. Somebody should do this. Go pick up some rocks from your local, lake or river, drill a little hole in it, throw a little loop in it so that way you can tie a line to it and see, like, do you produce more fish even in not a method fishing scenario, because that was called method fishing, and that's not legal in Minnesota because it's a fish attractant that you're basically chumming the water with, and it disperses and you're using remnants of fish and that type of thing. So it's not legal in Minnesota. If it's legal in your area, because I think some states it would be legal, you could definitely try it. Carp, I guess, really like it. Anything that eats off of the bottom. I think that would be a really cool way to test fishing, especially like in a river where you've got some current going over it. I'll have to see if I can find a body of water not too far from me where I can try something like that. But the idea of if a fish sees your weight, it just looks like a rock. It looks like a natural part of the area that they're in. I think that could actually be beneficial for your other types of fishing as well. Again, where you're dragging just a normal weight along the floor. You don't need to put fish attractant on it. Again, one of the reasons why this works so good for the method fishing is because these are rocks and they're porous. And so that fish attractant will stick to it as well. So anyways, thought this was a pretty cool product that I came across. It is, again, I couldn't find anywhere in the US or Canada that it's for sale. It's overseas in the UK. Method fishing is a big thing over there. So if you can kind of see the way that the website set up here. And I think it even says down at the bottom where they're located, maybe not. But this is the US site, and they also have a UK site as well. I think if I refresh the page, no, it's not coming up for me. But anyways, this is in the UK. All right. Next topic that we're going to chat about. Let's see, go through the chat here real quick. Awesome. Camo and eco-friendly. Yeah, in terms of the stone, that'd be great. What's up, Ryan? Hey, Blaine. Nice to see you here. Oh, look at these members joining in. Hope all's well. Got some exciting news. Going to be a first-time father in December. Ryan, congratulations. Being a father is pretty freaking awesome, dude. I will tell you that much. I got a 2-year-old myself and absolutely enjoy it. It makes every stressful day that much better when you get to see your kid after work. It is legal here in Michigan, chumming. Awesome. So, like, have you ever done method fishing before? Let me know. It's legal in Indiana also. I just like Minnesota's got to loosen the reins here. We're not seeing where okay, I fixed that. What's up, John? Hard mode fishing using rocks. No joke. Could you imagine if that's all it was? Just like a line attached to a hook attached to a rock? Checking in from Wisconsin. Love it. Hello, everyone from mid-Missouri. Nice to see you guys here. Okay. So next topic. The Minnesota DNR, and this doesn't matter if you're in Minnesota or not, but this is something that I think is actually really interesting. So the Minnesota DNR, and the gentleman that we have here, biologist Nick Rydell, he is with Minnesota DNR. They did some data diving into what is the impact of live imaging forward-facing sonar on fisheries. And I will tell you, the people that say live scope is killing our fisheries, I don't think are going to like this. I'm going to show you just a couple of quick clips out of this. It's an hour-long episode. Angling Buzz put this together. I'm super thankful for them for doing so. I will link their video down below. We're only going to talk about a couple of different clips in it that I think are super important and impactful to have a conversation. But go watch the full video if you want. They also have a shorter version of it that I think is like 8 minutes long or something on Facebook with some of the highlights. But we're going to jump in. I'm going to show you about 2 minutes of this right here, which kind of sets the stage for the study that they did, the context behind it. And then we're going to jump into what they found and where they think problems actually exist. So I think this is super interesting. This will probably be a 10-minute segment here in terms of like part of the show. So if you don't care about forward-facing sonar and you watch it on the replay, jump ahead about 10 minutes and this should be over. But I'm going to be quiet here. I'm going to play this and let me know if you have any issues watching it. But this will be about 2 minutes. We'll chat about it, and then I'll show you another couple-minute section too.
Thank you, Nick Rydell, for showing up.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so this is great. Nick and I have had a lot of conversations over the years about different fisheries topics. And why don't you introduce yourself, Nick, and tell us who you are, what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Nick Rydell. I'm a fisheries biologist out of the Glenwood office. I started there in 2019. I'm kind of a jack of all trades, I guess you would say, in our office. So I'm kind of in charge of our education and outreach. I'm also the muskie guy out of our office. I've been the creel survey guy, and then I also serve on the Panfish Tech Committee along with Mike. So I represent Region 1, the Northwest region for panfish management.
That's great. And one thing you forgot to leave out, you're also a hardcore angler.
Yeah,
so I think that's really important that people understand that you're not just a guy sitting at a desk or pushing paper or data. Like, you go out and participate in the resource and are avid hardcore multi-species angler.
Yeah. So, I got into this because I always enjoyed angling. And that's one thing I like to bring up to, kind of our stakeholders in the area is, I want these lakes to be good because I'm fishing them too. So, I'm looking out for your best interest because it's also in my best interest. I want a good bite on these lakes as well.
Yeah, and that's great. And I think, well, of course, we want all kinds of folks like you managing the resource. And I think that's one of the barriers that can often happen with fisheries managers and the public is there might be some disconnect between how active is this manager utilizing the resource and how avid are they. And often anglers managers are speaking different languages, which creates friction. And so it's great. I'm really, more Nick Rydells out there is all the better for me. So yeah, man, you have been pretty busy this spring. Reached out quite a long time ago now to see if you'd come.
All right, so I'm going to pause it there. So that's some good context. This guy knows his stuff. He's a muskie angler. He's on all these different boards. He's got a lot of experience. He's a hardcore fisherman. He wants this stuff. He wants the fisheries to be successful, right? So he has a vested interest in actually giving us, if anything, a biased approach to let's make these waterways as good as possible for fishing. And that's what he's going to talk about next. So I'm going to jump forward here to a section. This is a couple minutes long, and this is talking specifically about the study. We're going to skip a lot of the small talk that they have here. But again, go watch the full video if you're interested in it. Throw it on in the background. It's an hour long. Here, play this right here.
Because they're not pit tagged on. There's a few that are pit tagged, but not,
Yep.
The population as a whole isn't.
Yep.
So yeah. So anyway, that is definitely cool stuff. So one of the hot topics this winter, this is a good segue because muskies are always a hot topic, but you again, being proactive, decided you take a peek at some of the creel interviews that have happened in the state of Minnesota and analyze that data.
He will explain what a creel interview is here in just a second. So if you're not familiar, I bet you all are, but if you're not familiar, you'll catch it.
Regarding technology's use and its effectiveness for catching fish. So can you give everybody kind of the 10,000 foot view of that, and then we'll dive into some of the nitty gritty.
Yeah. So if people aren't familiar, a creel survey is essentially an angler survey. So it kind of consists of two main components, where a creel clerk will go out and they will essentially count the total number of anglers across the lake, whether it be driving across the lake, or sometimes on large lakes, they'll use an airplane to fly over and do these counts. And then also angler interviews. So, some listeners probably were part of a creel survey before. It was mainly done on our large walleye lakes within Minnesota. So like Mille Lacs, Red, Leech, Lake of the Woods, where a creel clerk essentially goes and interviews anglers. They see what species they're catching, the size of fish that anglers are catching and keeping versus releasing, what time they started that day versus what time they ended. And there's kind of two different types of creel surveys, which will be important here in a little bit. But there's roving creel surveys, where essentially the creel clerk is going around the lake and actively interviewing anglers as they're fishing. And that's usually done on more small to medium-sized lakes. And then on the flip side, there's access-based creel surveys,
which the access-based is the most popular, the way that at least I've interacted and seen these, right? You're picking your boat up off, you're trailering your boat, use the correct terminology here, after the day, and they're sitting there at the launch asking you, how did it go? Did you use live imaging or not? They have a bunch of questions they ask. What did you catch? How many did you keep? All of that stuff.
The creel clerk is sitting at the access and interviewing people as they come off the lake, and they're getting what we refer to as completed trip interviews. And those are useful for getting a total, like how did you harvest your limit, that type of deal, more so than catch rates. And essentially these creel surveys have been going on.
Here we go.
Forever.
Tune in here.
Mainly on our large walleye lakes. And then recently we started kind of doing a few more on these small to medium-sized lakes. And when I started in 2019, funding was available to do some of these small and medium-sized lakes. And it was around that time I was, forward-facing sonar came out 2015, wasn't really high adoption rate at that time. So Panoptic was released in 2015, 2018. The first version of LiveScope was released, and it was kind of like on my mind. I was kind of curious, both professionally and personally, like, well, is this going to increase catch rates? My kind of hypothesis was that maybe it would increase catch rates, but maybe not harvest rates. So when I was doing my next creel survey on Lake Minnewaska, I incorporated a technology question at that time, and I did some checking around the state and was wondering if anyone was looking into this yet. And there was no one really looking into it. But there was a couple other offices also doing creel surveys, and they had incorporated technology questions. So I wanted to standardize things moving forward so that we could kind of group all these creel surveys together and kind of look at, you know, the effects of technology over time as the adoption rate increased. So we have data starting in 2021, and I've analyzed the data through 2024, mainly looking at a comparison between forward-facing sonar versus all the other types of sonar. And to date, I have analyzed data from 39 lakes with over 39,000 angler interviews. And as far as I'm aware, this is
39,000 angler interviews across 39 lakes. That's his data set.
By far the largest data set of its type, not only here, but in the United States. There's been some other forward-facing sonar research, but it's usually only on a couple lakes. And what we kind of have seen so far is forward-facing sonar use is dependent on lake size. So generally, smaller lakes tend to have lower forward-facing sonar use, while larger lakes tend to have higher forward-facing sonar use. So, for example, in 2024, we had lakes that still had forward-facing sonar use as low as 1.5%. But on the flip side, we had lakes that had forward-facing sonar use up to 37% within a lake. But overall, in 2024, we did see a pretty significant increase in forward-facing sonar use from 2023. So 2023, we had about 10% of anglers were using forward-facing sonar during creel surveys, and it went to about 20%, so doubled between 2023 and 2024.
And I want to point out too that this is not just open water. You're doing both open water and ice.
Yep. So open water and ice fishing. So that would be kind of pooling those two together. We also had a angler survey, a mail-in survey that took place in 2023 from the DNR, and it saw about the same. About 10% of people said they had used forward-facing sonar that year. And you know, I'm guessing that you know, kind of big increase between 2023 and 2024 was from a few reasons. You know, there was a release of kind of updated versions of forward-facing sonar for quite a few companies. So there's kind of a discounting of the previous, you know, sonar from before. So it kind of made that entry point into forward-facing sonar a little bit cheaper than it was. So that was probably a big part of the reason why we saw that increase.
Sure. And so a couple other things. So we know that how does it, I mean, the big question is, how does it affect catch rates? And do you see anything change within certain species of fish being caught more frequently with the tech?
Yeah. So I looked at both open water and hard water seasons. I was mainly originally looking at more harvest-oriented species. So kind of my main objective originally was sunfish, crappies, walleye, since they tend to be the most harvested species in the state. I also have incorporated largemouth bass and muskies into the data set as well. And so far, on the open water side of things, we have seen statistically no significant difference between forward-facing sonar users and all other sonar users, which was surprising to me. You know, my original hypothesis was that it would increase catch rates. On the hard water side of things, we did see some statistical differences. So for the hard water side of things, for sunfish, crappies, and walleye, we did have statistically higher catch rates during the hard water season in roving creels. So during the roving creels, those on small to medium sized lakes, for crappies and walleyes. And then on the harvest side of things, it was actually statistically lower for forward-facing sonar users for sunfish, but higher for crappies, no difference in walleyes. But if we looked at those access-based creels, which tend to be our large walleye lakes, there was no statistical difference there. And I think that's for a couple reasons. One, those large walleye lakes with the access-based creels, right? They tend to be destination
Almost done with this section
fisheries.
here.
And so a lot of people going to them are fishing out of permanent ice houses, right? They're staying there for several days. Well, the technology probably isn't that effective when you're sitting in a permanent ice house and you're not being mobile and using it effectively. And then on top of that, they incorporate overnight trips. So someone might come on a Friday, leave on a Sunday when they're interviewed, and right, you're not really, you might have lines down overnight, you might have rattle reels down, but the technology isn't really being used effectively during that overnight period. Well, it is included in the catch rate. So those have to be analyzed separately.
So I'm going to pause it there. We can go watch the full video. I'm going to talk about it a little bit here. We can have a little bit of conversation. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments in the live chat here. I think this is incredibly interesting. We heard Nick say it was his hypothesis coming in that the harvest rate would be higher if somebody is using forward-facing sonar. In an open water, there was no statistical significance across the surveys that he analyzed. Again, 39 lakes, 39,000 anglers and then in the open water period of those surveys, no statistical significance in terms of higher harvest rate for walleyes, panfish, meaning crappie and bluegill. So that is something that I think a lot of people would be surprised by. Ice fishing, he said, just to recap, there was on the roving creels, which is basically where they come out to you and they're checking on you or whatever, which again, they only do typically on like the smaller lakes. They did see a little bit higher, statistically higher in terms of, I think he said crappie and bluegill, no statistical significance in terms of any difference in walleye harvest. And then he said for the bigger lakes where they do the access surveys, they didn't. And I think something that's really interesting, they talk about it a little bit more here in this episode, is that he's basically, which I think is 100% accurate, he's diluting it down to people that are in ice houses, like permanent ice shacks, they're not as mobile, they're not moving around as much. And so the value and benefit of a forward-facing sonar unit is pretty limited if you're in a permanent shack that you're not moving around. Because the idea of forward-facing sonar is that you can scan an area, and if there's no fish there, you would go move and find the fish. Yes, if you're on a spot, you may sit and wait. You're going to know when they come in, and you have maybe a little bit of a better chance to catch them, but you're not getting the full benefit of forward-facing sonar. So that is part of his hypothesis around, like, they're not actually using it to their benefit, which is why there's statistically no real difference versus using any other type of sonar. Because it doesn't matter if you can see 100 feet away, you're not going to go move there, right? Whereas if you have a Vexilar, if you have a Markham, if you have any other, normal flasher, you're going to see straight down as well, which is where your line is. And so I thought that was really interesting. The other thing that they say later on, because the synopsis is like, there's honestly not that much of a difference, if any. But he said where they did notice a big difference, and I'm not going to play this part of it because I think I've played enough of their video. I'll link it down below. Let's give them a thumbs up here. We'll link it down below so you can go watch them, give them the watch time for it. But what he said later on is there's this super user effect around forward-facing sonar. And he said Big Pine was a lake where he specifically witnessed this, is that guides are, I'm not going to say they're a problem, because I don't think they necessarily are, but I think there maybe needs to be a look at different regulations for guides in the way that they do it if we run into an issue. Because as we've witnessed here, the average angler, there's not really a big harvest difference. So we're not killing our lakes because of forward-facing sonar. But with guides, he said in Big Pine, the data that he looked at, the guides represented 5% of the effort. So 5% of the fishermen targeting crappie, but they represented 59% of the crappie harvest on Big Pine during the data set that he had looked at. And he believes the reason is the super user effect. If you have people that are going out there nonstop, they're using the forward-facing sonar to not only catch their limit and keep it and harvest it, but they're bringing others out to do it. That's where we're seeing significant increases in harvest catch. So that in guides are coming out of the woodwork, right? Especially because of forward-facing sonar, because they're like, hey, if somebody knows a few bodies of water, get forward-facing sonar, you can get people on them. And I love that, right? I would have no problem with guides, but it's something to think about. So that's that topic. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out after the stream is over. Otherwise, you can see the name of it here on YouTube. Go check out Angling Buzz. They do a really nice job with this stuff. I personally don't know if Angling Buzz, they seem like, based off of the content that I've seen previously, they are on the other side of the argument that I think they believe forward-facing sonar is not healthy for fishing. But I think right here, it's interesting to see from the Minnesota DNR. I appreciate Nick in being completely honest with us around the data that he saw. So let me know what your thoughts are down below on this here. Before we keep going here, Ryan is saying, have I ran the Humminbird Explorer series yet? I have. I've used it open water and ice fishing. I honestly really like that screen. In fact, I'm selling on Explorer 9 right now. If somebody's interested, I've used it a little bit, but it's in like mint condition. I'm going back to Garmin. I have the Megalive 2 with the Explorer 9 that I was using, both ice and open water. In the Garmin Live Scope Plus is still a little bit cleaner and clearer. I really like that screen though, the Explorer series screen. I really like it. It's got a quad core processor in it. It's super fast. The UI UX is amazing. The chart, the way that you can manage waypoints on it is fantastic. Like they did a really nice job. I wish Garmin would make some more screens that are similar to what they've done with that around waypoint management, how fast they are at the entry-level price point that they have, fairly entry-level price point that they have. They've done a really nice job with the screen, so no questions about that. Doug, checking in from Colorado. Nice to see you here. Thank you. Charles is saying that was cool. I'm going to check out that video tomorrow. Yeah, listen to it in the background. I think it's some good information. Again, it's not about Minnesota. It's about the fact that this is the largest data set that's known out there right now around angler surveys using forward-facing sonar versus not, and what the data is telling them. And the data right now is telling us forward-facing sonar is not killing our lakes. And there's some like arguments on Facebook around like, people are like, well, that's because most people don't know how to use it. And I think later this year, my goal is to help shed a little bit of light on, especially during the ice season, how to use it more effectively to help you guys out. Okay. Next topic, because I promised we wouldn't drain that all night here. Wired to Fish. You saw Vexilar in the thumbnail. Wired to Fish announces a partnership with Vexilar heading into the 2025-2026 ice fishing season. What does this mean? Well, it's pretty much exactly as you would imagine. Vexilar, we all know they've got their flashers here. Wired to Fish, they're a marketing and media agency, right? They are going to be advertising a ton about Vexilar. That is their partner. So I would not anticipate you're going to hear a whole lot about Markham. Here on this channel, I don't partner up with any of the brands. I don't, get paid by them. I don't get sponsored by them because I want to talk about all of them and just be honest with you. What I will tell you here, we'll actually read through this really quick because it's pretty brief here. So that way you've got all the information that I've got. But it sounds like Vexilar maybe has some new stuff coming, which I heard the end of last year as well, that they were working on some new stuff. I have no clue what it is, but I'm pretty excited about it. We know that the FLX30 BB, the one that was released 2 years ago, is being discontinued. The FLX38 is their newest, latest, and greatest one that is out there. And then, of course, the 28's out there as well. So it says Vexilar, an iconic name in the world of ice fishing, sonar electronics, and wired to fish, one of the largest and most authoritative voices on all things fishing outside of Alex Tim's YouTube channel, have announced a groundbreaking partnership ahead of ice fishing season. This collaboration marries Vexilar's electronics expertise with wired to fish leading community of enthusiasts fueling their outdoor pursuits. So Vexilar is excited to partner with Wired to Fish. I'm sure there's some sort of compensation there, or free product or something, and they're using them as a marketing agency, which is smart. A lot of companies do this stuff. There's no problem here, unless you want unbiased advice. Dating back to 1960, Vexilar boasts a long track record of transformative products, from the original FL8. The TM here is the thing that because I'm like, what the heck is an FL8 TM? Here's the deal. I think that's just supposed to be the trademark logo, and they just copied it and pasted it in plain text rather than actually having that there, which it should be in like superscript. So that's what that is. It's the FL8, and later breakthroughs such as underwater camera systems and sonar accessories all the way up to the FLX38. Vexilar remains synonymous with reliability, innovation, and performance. And I wouldn't disagree. The FL8 came out in 1960, in the 1960s. People still use the FL8 today. Some of the OG ones, they are basically bulletproof. They make very, very good products. If I was to fish with a flasher, in it like a true flasher, I would 100% choose Vexilar. I've had both Vexilar and Markham. I strongly prefer Vexilar. We're excited to be working closely with Vexilar this year, says Editor-in-Chief Joe Albanese of Wired to Fish. Testing and using the latest products from Vexilar is always a highlight, and it really shortens the learning curve when fishing hard water. Can't wait to try the next technology they'll bring to market. Okay, so again, let's think about the context here. Wired to Fish and Vexilar are partnering up for this ice fishing season. Wired to Fish says, we can't wait to try the next technology they'll bring to market. This is basically saying Vexilar is bringing new technology to the market this ice fishing season. That should be exciting for all of us. What is it? We don't know yet. I honestly do not know. I would imagine they're looking at something in the forward-facing space, or in a different type of transducer technology outside of just the broadband transducer in the typical way that they've thought about it previously. We've got to remember Vexilar also was acquired, was that last year or the year before? And so we should be seeing some shifts here. Current flagship products like the FLX38 feature highly advanced brushless flasher technology. We're going to skip all of that. Vexilar has a long and storied history of providing ice anglers with the tools they need to catch more fish and ultimately have more fun when they're out on the ice, says Albanese. Wired to Fish is excited to partner with one of the most respected brands in the ice fishing industry, and we look forward to what the future will bring. Meanwhile, and this is the last part of it here, and we'll move on. Vexilar continues to pursue product expansion and technological enhancements, including next generation sonar. If they're working on next generation sonar, that's not flasher technology, right? I mean, how could it be? It's from the 60s. They said it here in the article. So I am super hopeful that Vexilar's coming out with some crazy cool new stuff this year and foster deeper engagement with ice angling communities. The company remains headquartered in Bloomington, Minnesota, continuing its decades-long roots in Minnesota's ice fishing heartland. Let me know down in the comments, any of you guys or gals use Vexilar? Do you still use any type of flasher technology? Have you moved to the graph style? What do you use? Do you not use technology and you go out there with your depth bomb and your check-in and you're marking your line and you're doing it that way? Let me know down below. But that is the news about Wired to Fish and Vexilar, and they're partnering up. It's exciting to me. I love it. I'm not going to go to them for obviously unbiased advice on buying a flasher, because obviously they're going to recommend Vexilar. But I'm going to go to them to hopefully give us some insights on some of the new stuff that's coming out, which is always exciting. All right, next topic up, Ohio Capital Journal. We are the walleye capital of the world, according to Ohio. So this is a bill that lawmakers are trying to get passed in Ohio. That's basically saying they would like to make the walleye the official state fish. They believe that this will be an easy one to do. They say, we are the walleye capital of the world, and Ohio is open for anglers from all over the place to come here and experience what Ohio is all about. They say, by having an official state fish, it allows the state of Ohio to market that to folks in other states. I've talked to environmentalists who said that having a state fish can help them on their grant applications with different levels of government and with other nonprofits that make donations. There's 72.1 million walleye in Lake Erie, at least 2 years or older, meaning they're ready to be caught and kept. They said that, for comparison, there are about 600,000 white-tailed deer in Ohio. I'm guessing what that means is in Ohio, a lot of people think that white-tailed deer hunting is good because it's really healthy. And what they're saying is there's 600,000 of them. There's 72 million walleye that are at an age of being able to be kept and harvested. So they're saying we definitely are the walleye capital of the world. The Walleye are the nickname of Toledo's professional minor league hockey team, and Port Clinton celebrates the annual Walleye Festival as the Walleye Drop on New Year's Eve. So they're already focused on walleye in other parts of the state. Why not make it the state fish? They said it's not really controversial. I mean, we passed almost unanimously last year. There's a lot of people that come into the district just to fish for that fish on Lake Erie. The economic impact is pretty large. They've got 3 competitive walleye tournament series there. They kind of go on and on and on. Ohio fishing has an economic impact of $5.5 billion per year. And they say just because somebody comes here to fish doesn't mean that the restaurants don't benefit, the fuel stations don't benefit, and the hotels do not benefit. Their thought here is that, say that walleye is their state fish, they can market it, they can bring in more people, which then fuel the economy in the state of Ohio. I've never fished Ohio for walleye. I've never fished Lake Erie for walleye. Might be on the list of things to do. Let me know, again, down below, what is your state fish if you know? It is walleye here in Minnesota, by the way. You're wondering what that black sheet was in that ultralight chair. It's to install on the feet when you're in sand so it doesn't sink into it. Oh, that's interesting. Good to know. Glad to know you got the package too. That's great. Still playing with the Eagle Eye Live. I haven't been using the Eagle Eye 9 in the boat. It's definitely more, in my opinion, because I have the other technologies, definitely more focused for ice fishermen because of the advantage of the weight. So I am keeping it, is my plan right now, and I am planning on using it this ice season. However, I highly anticipate there being some new forward-facing sonar competitors to the Eagle Eye 9 coming out this ice season. So stay tuned to the channel. If that's not a reason to subscribe and watch all these videos and things that we're putting out, there's a teaser for you there. Wesam is saying, I do the FLX28. That is actually the last flasher that I had before I jumped fully into graphs and forward-facing sonar. I loved my FLX28. In fact, I had 2 of them. They were great. All right. As we had said earlier on, this show is brought to you by AnglerBuilt. If you don't know what AnglerBuilt is, check out the link down below in the description. We're going to feature the custom fish finder builder here. This is a website. You can access it from your phone, your desktop, your tablet, whatever you got. And essentially what it is, you can go to anglerbuilt.com and check it out, or the link down below. And this is where you can build your own fish finder setup. Right now, it's really focused around Garmin and live imaging, but you can click here. You can select a screen. We've got a bunch of different screens in here. You can compare the screens. You can use filters on the side. And the goal here is to help you find exactly what you're looking for and the best price. We can see 2 of these screens here, the Garmin Echo Map Ultra 2 106 and the GPS Map 8610. I've got deals on here that are going to save you from MSRP. You may say, that's not possible. The MSRP on these things is map locked. They can't legally do that and advertise that. And you'd be right. They can't. But guess what? People are, and you're able to find these at a cheaper price anywhere. So you can just go in here, find the best price. It's going to load up dynamic pricing. These are all the retailers. You can see the last time I checked the price at these retailers and the time of day. And look at that. Sportsman's Guide has it on sale for $18.99 right now. It's MSRP. Its map pricing is supposed to be $2,100. So Sportsman's Guide probably is going to get in trouble with Garmin, but they haven't changed their pricing since the 7/1 price hike. So that's one way to look at it. You can also select and build the setup. You can add it in here. We've got live imaging transducers. You can compare the 34 to the 62 to the PS22 to the PS30. Select and add it to the build. We can see if you're looking for a good deal on a Live Scope Plus, you can actually get it right now $30.99 off of MSRP. That's also below map pricing. So you can get all that stuff here. Check it out. You can do bundled pricing. You can share the page. It's intended to help you choose what you need, which screen's best for you, which live imaging transducer, open water, battery shuttles, build it yourself. And hopefully I'm going to save you some money as well. This is a completely free tool that I built. We're going to be expanding this as well, but I just wanted to plug that because it is people going here that are fueling the growth of the channel, the awareness. We're building tools that are meant for anglers to use and leverage. All right, next up, we talked about this a little bit last week, and I want to get into it with you here. On alextim.com, there is a new tab on the side now. If you're on your phone, you can open the hamburger menu. It'll look like this on your phone. Click this, and you can click on Ice Fishing Shows 2025, 2026. I started building it out. I imagine most of you are ice fishing anglers. If you're not, you should really try it out. It's pretty great. So the events that we know of, I have listed here. I've got some additional filters this year that are on here. So you can filter by month. You can filter by where. So all of the events. If you only want to see the events that are in Minnesota, the events that are in Wisconsin, Manitoba, or Michigan, those are the ones that I know of right now. So we'll go to all. The first show that's happening or event is the Landcastle Summer Extravaganza. Yes, this is on land in a field, and it's around camping as well, but there's a ton of focus around ice fishing here. You will see some brands with some new stuff here. All the details are here, the date. You've got full details and tickets. You can actually click on all of these, and it'll go directly to the website. So if I click on this, it's going to open in a new tab for me, and you can see it brings you right to it. So I am truly building, just like I did last year, the one-stop shop resource of all of the events that you want to go to regarding ice fishing shows where you can find good deals. You can also click add to your calendar here, which will add it to your calendar. Pretty self-explanatory. So we got that in there for September. October right now, we've got the North Metro Ice Show, 5th annual, October 25th to the 26th. I will call this out. The Modified Portable Ice House Show that is ran. This is the one that I do a video on each year where people are tricking out their traps and all of that kind of thing. That is now as a part of the first day of that show. Last year, it was the weekend before. Now they've combined them, which I think is a genius idea. November, we know the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show is November 8th through the 9th. December, we know the St. Paul Ice Fishing Show is December 5th to the 7th. The Arrowhead Ice Fishing Show, which is in Duluth, is December 12th to the 14th. The Wisconsin Ice Fishing Show in Oshkosh is the 12th to the 14th in December. And then the Ultimate Fishing Show in Detroit, which is really a little bit more on open water, but they do have ice fishing stuff in there as well, January 8th to the 11th. We don't have, which I don't know why I have it because I know the dates of it. Maybe it's because I don't have all the details in here yet, but I'll get it in here. Sioux Falls Ice Show needs to be added. There's a bunch that need to be added. All the Shields Ice Fest, Joe's Sporting Goods. I don't know the date for Joe's. It's typically mid-October. So there's a lot that will continue to be updated in here. If you know of any dates, email me. The link is down here at the bottom. You'll see the last time I updated it. You can email me events. You can ping me on Facebook, DM me on Instagram, write down in the comments, and I'll get things added in as well. So this page is available if you are interested to link up on any of these events. I'm planning on, I don't know. I might try to make it out to Landcastle as a day trip. I will be going to the North Metro Ice Show, the Modified Portable Ice Show. I'll be filming there. I won't be going to Winnipeg. I'll be at St. Paul. I won't be at Wisconsin. I won't be at the Ultimate Fishing Show, but I'll go to a lot of the ones that are kind of around the Minnesota Twin Cities area and Sioux Falls as well. Let me know which ones you guys are planning on going to. Ice Institute in Sioux Falls has a date as well. Yeah, I got to get that added, John. Good call out. I'll get that added here later tonight. But literally bookmark this page. I'll also probably throw it on our AnglerBuilt website as an additional tool. And you can see we got other things on here too. I don't have AnglerBuilt on here. It's just anglerbuilt.com. You can go here. You can ask a question. You can check out the newsletter, which I got to do another newsletter release here. We've got some merch, which I'm going to be updating some of the merch with 2 other cool designs and things coming out. Lots of cool things. This is also where we have the Black Friday list. This is last year's Black Friday list. So you can kind of see some of the prices of what things were last year. We'll do another list like that. So tons of exciting, cool new stuff coming out this year to look forward to. But check out the ice fishing shows. And that is what we got for tonight's show. We got Brian B. Drop down if you have any questions or comments you want to chat through here before we end the live. Brian is saying, my buddies and I did a test last year between LiveScope and a Garmin 2D. There was no difference in catch rates. I had more fun watching LiveScope, though. It is like video game fishing. That is very interesting. Yeah, very, very interesting. Northern Minnesota bass are on fire right now, JC. Good to know. Good to know. Like, how north? Are we talking like all the way up near the border? Doug is saying, been using a Markham flasher, but purchased a Vexilar FLX 28 for this season. Dude, you are going to love it. Excited to switch, but did like the Markham. Yeah, the Markham was good. I think the Markham that I had was one of the lower level ones. It was actually the Markham, was it the TC3 or the 3 TCI or something like that? It was pretty good. Then I moved to an FLX18, I think, or 12. And then I jumped up to the 28, FLX 28. Had a couple of them for like 2 years and then got rid of them and then got into Panoptics, the PS22 when that came out. And then I got into the LVS 32, then the LVS 34. And now who knows? What the heck is Garmin going to come out with this year? We don't know, but I bet you it's something. I hope it's competition for the Eagle Eye 9. I hope they come out with a new version of the LVS 12, partnered up with a screen that is a 9-inch screen that can work that transducer all in a nice bundle for at least competitive, like make it close to $999. That would be ideal. I think the product they released for ice fishing last year was like it bombed. I think that the PS22 ice fishing bundle, the poleless design, what a waste of money. I still have one, so I need to get rid of that this fall. Doug Larson, M1, real basic but effective. Totally, dude. Yeah, I mean, honestly, any flasher is better than no flasher. If you don't have a flasher and you've never had one, go on Facebook Marketplace and try to find one. You could get like an M1 for like $150 used. Like, get one and you will be so thankful. It is game changing. It makes so much of a difference. So appreciate you all for being here. Drop down in the comments if you have any requests for content you'd like to see on the channel, topics you'd like to see covered. You just want to say, hey, reach out to me on socials. We'll be all over the place. We got lots of videos still planning on coming out here, and ice fishing is upon us. Like, content is going to start dropping now. I'm honestly pretty focused on ice fishing, especially once September 6th hits. I am probably going to be like all in on ice fishing, probably packing up the boat, probably not going to do much fall fishing. Maybe we'll get out. I don't know. But anyways, take it easy, tight lines, stay safe out there, and hope you catch a PB this weekend if you're getting out. Thanks all. Have a good